5 years ago, the whole world was trying to save every single life during COVID. Today, thousands of people wake up and think whether they'll survive the day. It is crazy how the general perception of value of the human life have changed. Living in a country fighting a full-scale invasion is rough, but, well, I consider myself in a good position. It is a big luck to be a drone operator in such times. You can see much further and do much more. And as a good bonus, you're not in the infantry, so you have much lower chances to get blasted, and you don't need to spend a lot of time, as much as they, on deployment, as it's easier to get you in and out of the position. We pilots have our own vision of true face of war. In the infantry, you're cheating death every day. But pilots are the ones who are able to travel beyond the front line. We can see with our own second eyes the scale of destruction. The war in Ukraine has been going on since 2014, and back then a lot of people have lost their homes, and the only way to get back is to abide by the Russian law. Back then I was only a student, barely beginning to live by my own, barely beginning to understand the complexity of the world. Not that I didn't care, is that just my young mind wasn't able to comprehend the scale of what was going on. What is happening now is obviously much bigger, and the realization of what was happening all those 12 years hits differently, much harder now. Now I have a lot of brothers in arms fighting for lost territories, fighting for their lost homes, or as all Ukrainians agreed to say, temporarily occupied regions. They are telling us stories about their lost homes, about places that defined them, that raised them, and that we all wish they would see sometime soon. And flying behind the front line shows the same pain of someone losing their home. Every day now, new families are leaving their homes in hopes to come back sometime. My colleagues and I have the ability to get a bird's perspective of places where someone used to live not that long ago. During one of our missions, I realized we were flying over a small shop where me and my squad mates used to buy shitty cheap coffee and snacks less than 2 years ago. And that's what gives me the determination to continue fighting, that my job can save people's lives, homes, and their futures. And every time Russians trying to do something bad, we step up and screw their plans. And it feels good, not just because we stopped our enemy, but knowing that our job helped someone to save their home, and in the future we would hear less of stories about lost houses. But also, let's say, there is a philosophical view on such cases. One of my unit colleagues once told me that, you see, I practice humanism, so if I don't hit that target, someone else surely will, understanding that there's a lot of drones flying over the front line. But this was his way of explaining why he's not so eager to fly as much as others. And imagine not hitting a target and that the enemy got closer to our front lines and did some major damage. So your inaction led to someone you don't even know getting injured or worse, even dead. And it's easy to go by this view if you don't know the people who are holding the lines in front of you. There's a belief, or more like a saying, that if you have never experienced being in the infantry, you'll make a bad pilot. And it's not about the skills, but more about the motivation to do your job. People believe that if you haven't tasted the mud, then you don't know the struggle, and that means you are less motivated to do your job good. And although I personally haven't been in the infantry, I've joined the army specifically to fly drones, as a lot of other recruits did as well. But I particularly agree with that saying. I've seen numerous people being careless and not doing their best due to different reasons, as fatigue or lack of motivation. However, I try to do my best by showing the best example, but also having friends in the infantry helps you understand how connected everything is on the battlefield. During my basic training, we were trained by former assault team. They told us something that I wasn't even aware of. The psychological effect of our drones flying over the infantry. A Ukrainian soldier sitting in a trench hears Ukrainian drones flying towards the enemy, has his spirit lifted because he understands that we got his back. And in my civil life, I have never felt like being a part of a big cause. But now we as a country are doing stuff that makes the news every day. And not even the news, but the future history books too. And even though sometimes it might feel like a lot, as I said to my friend, that it's better to try riding the wave instead of being covered by it. In my unit, a lot of the guys here because it's the right thing to do. Sure, a lot of them are grumpy about it and would rather spend more times with their families, but here they are. Personally, for me, this job has another side. I try to attend as many unique trainings as possible and work with as many drones as I can, so I can get more experience. There's a whole genre of autism right there. In civil life, I was an engineer and I enjoyed working with peacetime technologies, but when I joined the army, a whole new world unfolded in front of my eyes. It's an obvious thing that every war is a boost of technologies, but being the witness of the progress is amazing. The best part for me as a professional is communicating with people who are passionate about it. But the most respect I have for the guys who are in it not for the money or draft evasion, but as they say now, they're in it for the love of the game. One time I had a conversation with one of the defense tech company's employees, and I asked him whether he was exempt from being drafted, and he replied to me that he simply does not care. And I can assure you that this guy did more for the cause than even some of the high-rank officials I have met. And when manufacturers not just offer you great support, but propose, for example, alternative usage cases, it's really good. Sure, this might be purely capitalistic, but even in the corporate world, if they see that unsupported option is needed, they might go off the books just to help you get there, because we're all in this together. It's one of those times when you feel surrounded by people who genuinely want to build something bigger than themselves. And sometimes I think what life would look like for me after the army or after the war, but I cannot imagine going back to 9 to 5. I just want to surround myself with passionate people and try to build a better future for everyone. Yeah, I know that this video might have seemed a little bit vague, or I was spinning around like different topics, but I hope you understand the idea I was trying to convey to you. So subscribe, leave a comment, it would be great for my young channel, and we'll see you in the next video.